Greetings, everyone. How you doing? I'm advertising this book, Ronald Williams, Hill, Just Us for Justice is Racism, Dead and All Love. I'm gonna give you some entries that's in this book. The first entry, when I arrived to Chicago, I stayed in Chatham, and for briefly anyway. Um, there was a lot of stuff going on. The change was coming back then, and that was in 2005. I was given information that I received from another state here, but it wasn't well received. I went to Obama's office. He was a senator at the time. I met with Jennifer Mason, Director of Constitutional Services, right here. See that name? I know it's probably a little backwards, but her name is Jennifer Mason, beautiful young lady. Also a Ellen Whelm West, also of Obama's office. He was a senator at the time. I was strolling around, me and some other people, but they was on the outskirts. I was on the inskirts. I was in 219 Dearborn, not too far from where my PO box was. Anyway, make a long story short, I gave him some information. They told me, the assistant, I couldn't talk to him, but he was in the office. Obama was in the office. They referred to what I was saying to him, and they sent me a letter spontaneously telling me what I could do. But before I left the office, they told me to go to a certain place. And it was around the corner, which it wasn't. So I had to research it and find out where it was, but I did notice this young man in a black Mercedes-Benz chrome fenders. He was following me by the time I got to my destination. I've seen this man often, but I didn't know who he was. He would be everywhere I would be. Um, I gave information to minister's son, Mustafa Furkan, about human trafficking and coyotes that would bring these people in, house them in the one house, and do criminal things to the men and also criminal things to the women. Um, there was a manager by the name of Rocky Percy who managed some of the buildings that I was in. First was the Greenery. I moved from there and I went to the Fernwood. Then I came back onto Superstition Park. There he was, Rocky Percy. I wonder who he belongs to. I wonder what organization he belongs to. But he played football from Hawaii, so he told me. Anyway, there was a lot of stuff that was going on. Police put me in handcuffs on Princeton Broadway and took me to jail. The reason for that was I stood up against some things that was happening around the complex, which I'd be less than a man if I didn't. But what they was doing to the women with these things that they was giving them was crazy. It's like a lot of these people falling out. And they blamed it on COVID, but it's not COVID. It's fentanyl. And if it's not fentanyl, it's since the events, which happened to me. Make a long story short, this young, dark-skinned, tall man, heavyset, would follow me in his Mercedes Benz chrome fenders. Um, when I moved into the apartment in 319 Chicago, Dempster, 319 Dempster in Evanston, I was surrounded by this this police agent's family members. I didn't know that until one of the street people told me to go see this guy if I had any problems. I did. So when I went over there, there was a desk sergeant by the name of Holmes. This, I think it was in 2011, maybe 2010. Um, he told me to keep on coming back. I came back 5 times. Finally, Holmes was paying attention to somebody else, and I asked out loud for Demetrius Cook, which one of the uh, Anglo-Saxons agents, police told me that there he is right there. So I motioned him towards me, went into the office, and I told him what was up. He told me, do I know who they were? I said, no, I do not know who they were, because if I did tell him then, if he was following me from where Obama's staff told me to go, then I had problems. But I didn't know that he was part of the Nation of Islam at the same time. The reason why that is the information that I gave Mustafa Furkan was about the coyotes and how they was trafficking people from other places of the world into a bungalow house. There would be a lot of them. I was living at the time in Fernwood. That's on Rural Road in another state, but very beautiful place. Very knowledgeable place too. So on that, this book has the entries of basically everything that I went through. And one of them is Motions to Dismiss, Clemency for Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover. That's on page 30 to 91. And it has a lot of implications, which are true. How Larry and Angel Leak uh, started to arise and wake up and see where our problem lies. And when they started teaching the science, that's in buying property, that's when they had their problems. Nixon threw away the key. Matter of fact, he threw away the key on a lot of people. Make a long story short, there was a man by, oh God, his last name is Fields, Michael Fields, who broke the case. He happens to be in Moore, and he was one of the relatives that I used to date, Valerie, was her uncle. It was his equipment that broke the case. So just in case y'all don't know, Watergate was broken by Michael Fields. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time because I'm on a time limit, but I'm gonna finish this. Maybe called session 2. I'm assuming, and this is the truth. Everything in this book is the truth. After I left Evanston, I went to Chatham, where I was robbed. The case was buried. Case number is the first case, robbery case, happened on St. Lawrence in 84th. HV 248354 was buried because the people that was involved happened to be wear badges and wear a badge and a gun. I moved from Chatham to 5300 South Michigan, where again, most of the people who were surrounding me were put in place by one of the police who happens to be a Mason, also as part of the Nation of Islam. I moved from there, I moved to 4222 South Michigan, where people were put in place. First, no, I'm not going to say street people. Then it migrated to policeman's relative next door to me, and I'm assuming a relative of one of the cops next door to me. And upstairs was a Mason. And sooner or later, a woman came in, which I've seen at Internal Affairs. She had a case of, no, I ain't gonna be able to find it, of one of the cops who put the drugs on me, but it was thrown out of court. If I can find it real fast, because I gotta get out of here, I'm gonna do the second one as soon as possible. But this woman, I don't want to mention her name because she was told what to do. I met on 35th in Michigan with another unit 121, 3510 South Michigan. The case was buried there too as well. That woman, I'm assuming, moved upstairs from me, 4222 South Michigan. I was in a backyard party where somebody told me to put my book on Amazon. I told him I didn't want my book on Amazon. He said, you need to put it on Amazon. Right before George Floyd met with his, I was first. I met when a lot of people was first because I seen a lot of ambulances coming to that property. And they didn't come back, but their stuff was moved out the back door. That's hurt. That happened a lot. That happened with the 5300 South Michigan building, as well as the 4222 South Michigan. And now where I'm staying at, which is 23 East 78th Street, Phillips, which is connected to 78th and Phillips. Same thing is happening there. People surrounding me. One was moved in before I moved in. She knew the crew. But she told me herself she wanted to get out without getting killed. Um, there was a woman that's moved upstairs from me named Cynthia Roscoe. She knew the crew. And they was trying to do the same thing they was doing to me on 4222. What it is, they can send shit to your vents and you will fall out. It will be very hard for you to breathe. And sometimes a lot of people haven't made it. Since 2019, a lot of people haven't made it. But they blame it on COVID. COVID is part of Wuhan, which has been, I'm assuming, not assuming, I know, that it was used back in World War II with the so-called Jews, who we are, the real Jews, the original people. But before that, we were Moors, because we invented many of the things on the table. We built many things on the table, but after the 60s, it was slowly taken away. And that was the plan, to slowly take a lot of stuff that we invented away. Martin Luther King, uh, Malcolm X, um, Harold Washington, um, can't even think of his name, Khalid Muhammad. A lot of these people found out the truth, and it was too late. They exterminated them. Well, they removed them, put it that way. There's a lot of chemtrails. Let's say, if you take chemtrails and you put in a solution small enough to put into a person's vent or to their furnace, they're not going to make it. On the 26th of June, 2019, this was done to my apartment. Matter of fact, I showed y'all the video. I hit the floor, y'all. I could not breathe. It was so hard. People around me knew what was happening because they've done this before. They didn't wake up. Uh, I usually have a guitar to do my thing, but today I don't have my guitar, and it's been tampered with. Because every apartment that I've been in, they're trying to stop y'all from knowing the truth about me and my book. 1987, I was accused with a crime that I would never do. Never do. Uh, Certified informant that was used to to penetrate my family members was at in Park Manor, put it that way. They wanted that building, and they used a woman. After the woman came, the male came. His name was Ronald Lawrence. Uh, that case was thrown out of court as well. But what I'm telling y'all, colorable law charges are meant for us to be stricken down. And when we're stricken down, there's not much we can do inside. Because what we have 5 stars, we got 6 stars, we got Nation of Islam, we have a couple other groups, all combined, but under whose umbrella? I'll give you one quick answer. Who is over the Ukraine war? Who is over the Vietnam War? Who is over Desert Storm? The one person controlled both sides of each one of the wars that I talked about. Now, Chicago, in Chicago, the true Jews, the original people, the Moors, we, us, have been removed by any means necessary. Any place that you throw a rock at in Chicago, a Moor Jew has been killed, one way or the other, whether it's been through a needle, whether it's been through a ostracized, whether it's been through an accident or make it look like an accident, like it was supposed to be made for me on the 26th of June 2019. Right after that, I made a video on Noble Drew Ali's death on Indiana in Brownsville, but back in that day it was called Metropolis. Metropolis. This was all that era of Metropolis. Uh, I'm not gonna hold up too much of this time, but the next time I'm gonna go through this documentary, y'all, I'm gonna blow y'all's mind. What's in this book? Let me point out to this, right? If I can do it really quick, really quick. These are all the unanswered illegal entries. I don't know if you can see this. Illegal entries. Illegal entries into my apartment at the 319 Dempster building, where I met a lot of the people that is related to the cop who followed me in a black Mercedes-Benz sedan, four-door that means, silver chrome. Later he migrated to a Lincoln beige. He would follow to me, or had me follow to each storage, each place that I would visit, and then I would see him in different places. The last time I seen him uh, was on 43rd in Michigan at Mahalia Jackson's place, across the street from the Chicken Shack. Get it? Make a long story short, I had to do something about this stalking, so I filed Friday at Cook County law offices to stop the harassment. I may not even stop. The name of the game was to rid me. Um, I've been shot at, been robbed twice. The police agents they never even, well, one contacted me, but it wasn't her. It wasn't Miss Talbert or Agent Talbert. I suspect it was a lady from my storage. I forget her name now, but it's in my documents. I had three lawyers. All these lawyers all of a sudden decided after months passed by to drop the case. One of them was reprimanded. He knew the gang members. Was sent to my door in 5300 South Michigan. 4222 Michigan, same thing, as well as 2413 East 78th Street. O 04 has many of my complaints. Keith Milmine, Commander. Um, what's happening in South Shore, y'all, is unheard of. I mean, the alarm sirens and ambulances are going just like this 24/7. And it's being cleared out with the quickness, but with the help of us, people who look like us. Noble Ali, like I said before on his stats, was an individual who brought civics and secret learning society of civics, as far as I'm concerned, first. Then came Master Farad. Then came Elijah Muhammad. Then came Furqan. Um, my brother was hooked up with Nation of Islam, but it was under Elijah Muhammad's son. I can't even think of it. Wallace D. Muhammad. He was a very wise man because he refused to accept some of the programmings that the people in power wanted him to accept. And I'm going to leave y'all with this. This is the RWL. I usually have my guitar so I can just uh, play out of this, but I don't have it because at two of the buildings, my guitarist was tampered with. The most expensive one was like the sound hole was ripped out purposely by managers and maintenance men linked to gangs who didn't know the truth of what I was trying to bring to Chi-Town. I don't like to call it Chicago because Chicago means shuttle cargo. And that's why we're disappearing like clockwork because we don't know the difference between sugar and honey. Let's put it this way, okay? So on that note, I will see y'all, time permits. You know what I mean? Because these people are kind of pissed off at me because I'm naming their names. But it's true. I did give Mustafa uh, documentations of a court case I was having. I was going to go in that other state to court and win. But there was another incident at Livingston's lounge was country at one time, but a football player from the Cardinals bought it out, and we renamed it Livingston, but it was jazz and R&B. After one of the performances, me and the piano man named Mike, and I and his wife was rear-ended by a Crawford. I can't remember his badge number, but it's in my files. In Scottsdale, Arizona. He rear-ended us. I was in the back seat, so I went to court. There was a beautiful older man who took the case. Um, I can't think of the doctor's name. Forbes. Forbes is the one who introduced me to him. But it was taken over by two guys. And I won't mention their names at this time. Yeah, I will. Um, Ken Johnson and Robert Austin. Robert Austin was the lawyer, and Ken Johnson was the paralegal. I would see him just like I would see Demetrius Cook follow me everywhere. Anyway, after the notation came out that I was writing the book, Justice of Justice is Racist and Dead Hell No, come out, before it came out, I was asked that I was told that I couldn't do that here. They like what I'm doing, and these is a group of very, very powerful group. They said, we like what you're doing, but you can't do it here. You got to get out of the state that I was in. So I did. And these are the tickets that I was giving, 3 of them. I gave one to somebody, but I can't mention his name. So she's doing well, but he's also from Chicago. Here's the ticket. This is the note. I don't know if you can see it. And this is the airline ticket that I was given to by a very, very powerful wife of a very, very powerful man who's linked with this organization. Here is airline ticket, American Airlines. As soon as I get off the plane, the memo must have came down to Demetrius Cook that I was arriving. And that's why I've been in some kind of turmoil. All I want to do is play my guitar and sing. And I told most of the property managers, top property managers, that this is what all I wanted to do. My rent has been offset every time on time, as well as the utilities in every single one that I went. But they are jealous people, and what do I have for them to be jealous of? But the knowledge that you all don't know, that they don't want you to know. But we went off like this. The belief systems in the programs versus knowing is the ticket. And I am RWL. The RW stands right or wrong, you choose. Peace. Islam, which means peace. Okay, so what we do, we stop it there. Stop.